Yes, you, the one reading these words right now. You feel it, don't you? That restless itch, that quiet frustration, the sense that you should be further ahead by now. But something's holding you back. Something invisible. Something you can't quite name. What if I told you the enemy isn't luck or time or other people? The enemy is you. The enemy is the silent, stupid mistakes you make every single day. Mistakes that drain your power, sabotage your discipline, and keep you trapped in mediocrity. Subscribe and watch until the end, because this is not just another generic motivational video. This is war. And by the end of this, you'll have the weapons to fight back and erase every mistake killing your growth. But pay attention. Every point here is connected. Skip one and the chain breaks. So don't just watch, engage. Write this down in the comments right now. I refuse to be my own enemy. Today, I reclaim my power. Do it, now. Because words have power, and the first step to changing your life is declaring it. In this reflection, we turn to the ancient wisdom of the Stoics to unveil 15 stupid mistakes killing your real potentials. The errors, subtle yet ruinous, that suffocate your growth and betray your inner strength. Mistake 1. Waiting for motivation. You sit, hoping that a sudden surge of energy will descend upon you. You scroll, you delay, you whisper to yourself, "Not yet, I don't feel ready." But listen carefully, that voice is a liar. The ancient Stoics would laugh at the modern obsession with motivation. To them, waiting to feel inspired was like a soldier refusing to fight until the wind blew in his favor. Foolish, dangerous, a recipe for ruin. Motivation is a mirage, always on the horizon, never in your grasp. You chase it, but it retreats. And while you wait for it, time sharpens its blade against your neck. Epictetus was born a slave, beaten, powerless, shackled. Do you think he waited for motivation before rising each day to train his mind like a weapon? No, he moved without excuse. He acted without inspiration, because he understood. Discipline is the foundation, not emotion, not feeling, will. First say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. Epictetus. Your potential is being held hostage by a lie, that you must feel good before you do good, that you must want it before you work for it. The Stoic path doesn't ask you to wait. It demands that you move, especially when you don't feel like it, because that is when the real work begins. That is when you forge the chains of inner mastery. Start with one push-up, one line, one step, and suddenly the fog lifts. Why? Because action creates clarity. Momentum builds truth. You are not a machine powered by motivation. You are a flame lit by motion. Do you want to feel motivated? Then act. The feeling will follow like a shadow, but hesitate, and the day will slip through your fingers like sand. Mistake 2. Letting your emotions rule you. You feel the burn of anger rise in your chest, the chill of anxiety crawl down your spine, the suffocating fog of fear cloud your mind, and you think, this is just how I am, I can't help it. But that right there is the mistake. You believe your emotions are kings, and you are their servant. The Stoics would strike that thought down like a tyrant. Marcus Aurelius commanded legions, ruled an empire, endured betrayal by friends, the death of his children, the whispers of rebellion, the rot of plague. Yet in the eye of the storm, he wrote in his private journal, not with rage or panic, but with calm clarity, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Do you understand what that means? It means that the battle is always internal. The world may shout, threaten, burn, but your emotions, they answer to you. Anger is a spark, fear is a wind, anxiety is a shadow. You can fan them into an inferno or watch them drift away. The difference? Choice. Modern life trains you to react. The Stoic trains himself to respond, to pause, breathe, and ask, will this matter in a year? Does this help me live with virtue? Am I the master or the slave? You cannot stop the wave of emotion. But you can decide whether to drown in it or ride it with discipline. You are not your rage, you are not your sadness. You are the watcher, the judge, the general of your own soul. And when the war drums of emotion begin to pound, stand still, let them pass. Emotion is only a tyrant if you kneel. Mistake 3. Obsessing over things you can't control. You lie awake at night, replaying conversations, what they said, what you should have said, what might happen, what could go wrong. You check the forecast, you check their opinion, you check the past, as if through sheer worry you could rewrite fate itself. But all you're doing is bleeding energy into shadows. The Stoics called this the dichotomy of control. Two realms, What is up to you? What is not? And most people live their lives pouring their soul into the second. You cannot control the storm, but you can control the sail. You cannot control the insult, but you can control your response. You cannot control death, but you can control how you live. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. Seneca. You're not tired from life. You're tired from fighting gods, ghosts, and gravity. Every time you obsess over the opinion of others, every time you replay the past like a broken reel, you are trying to stop the ocean with your bare hands, and it will drown you. Here's your discipline. Take a pen, make 2 lists. List 1, what I control. Your thoughts, your actions, your values, your effort. List 2, what I don't. The weather, the past, their opinion, their choices, disease, death, time. Now burn the second list. Not figuratively, literally. Burn it. Feel the heat on your fingers. Let it remind you, you were never meant to carry what was never yours. Freedom doesn't come from controlling more. It comes from releasing what doesn't belong to you in the first place. So choose today. Do you want to live like a Stoic? Or die exhausted trying to command the wind? Mistake 4. Seeking external validation. You post, you wait, you scroll. You check again, a like, a share, a heart. For a moment, it feels like worth. But it's not. It's crumbs. You dress your soul in borrowed eyes, hoping others will tell you who you are. But what happens when they don't look? When they don't clap? When silence greets your effort? You crumble. The Stoics saw this sickness centuries ago, the hunger for praise, the addiction to applause, the spiritual poverty of the man who cannot act without an audience. It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own. Marcus Aurelius. Here's the truth. If your self-worth depends on the approval of others, you are their slave. Your emotions will rise and fall at the whim of strangers. Your peace will hang on the click of a button. And that is not life. That is bondage. The Stoic path offers a sharper way. You don't need their praise. You need your principles. What matters is not how loudly the world claps, but how silently your soul stands tall. So here's your practice. For 1 week, do something noble, difficult, and meaningful. Help someone, create something, endure something, and tell no one. Let the act be its own reward. Let your character speak in silence. Because the man who no longer needs applause is dangerous. He cannot be manipulated. He cannot be bought. He is free. You were not born to perform. You were born to live with integrity. So choose. Do you want to be clapped for, or do you want to be unchained? Mistake 5. Living in the past or future. You stare at the past like an open wound. Replay regrets, rewrite decisions, try to bargain with shadows. Or you lean toward the future. Anxious, grasping, trying to control storms that haven't even formed. But both are illusions, ghosts, and every moment you spend there, you are being robbed. The Stoics named the thieves clearly. Regret and worry, one pulling you backward, the other dragging you forward. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, do not waste what remains of your life in speculating about others, unless it is grounded in some benefit to them. Keep your attention directed at the task at hand, because the present is all you own. Everything else is theater. Seneca wrote that we suffer like fools, regretting what we cannot change and fearing what we cannot predict, while the gift of now dies untouched in our hands. The Stoics didn't just accept this, they loved it. It was called amor fati, the love of fate. Whatever has happened, happened. Whatever will come, will come. And your job, not to fight the river, but to stand firm in the current with virtue. So here's your training. Set a timer for 5 minutes. Sit in complete silence. No phone, no noise, just your breath. And when your mind runs, because it will, drag it back. Not with anger, but with command. This is not meditation. This is war. This is the discipline of now. The mind, like a wild horse, kicks and bolts. You must hold the reins, because if you can master this moment, you can master your life. Mistake 6. Avoiding discomfort. You flinch at pain, dodge stress, stay warm, soft, safe, and you wonder why you feel weak, directionless, restless. Here's the truth. Comfort is not your friend. It is the slow poison that dulls your spirit and softens your edge. You were not built for eternal ease. You were forged for resistance. The Stoics didn't just endure hardship, they embraced it. Cold air against their skin, empty stomachs, bare floors, sleepless nights. Not because they were masochists, but because they knew that comfort is the enemy of strength. Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body, Seneca. And Seneca didn't just write that, he lived it. Despite his enormous wealth and influence, he practiced voluntary hardship, sleeping without blankets, eating scraps, wearing rough clothes. Why? So that if fate ever stripped him of everything, he would not flinch. He trained himself to need nothing, to fear nothing. And you avoid cold, you avoid hunger, you avoid silence, boredom, confrontation, rejection, failure. But the very things you run from are the very things that would make you unbreakable. Here's your command. Choose one daily discomfort, not randomly, but deliberately. Cold showers, waking up before dawn, skipping a meal, turning your phone off for 12 hours, speaking the truth where you'd normally stay silent. And when your mind resists, and it will, don't negotiate. Obey your higher self, because every time you embrace discomfort, you reclaim your throne as master of your mind. The Stoic does not pray for an easier life, he trains for a harder one. And every drop of sweat, every ounce of hunger, every chill, every ache is a sacrifice to strength. Pain is the forge, walk into it. Mistake 7. Overthinking. Instead of acting, you pace, you plan, you hesitate, you draw maps inside your head until the war is over and the battlefield is empty. Your sword never leaves its sheath. Why? Because you're thinking, always thinking. Overthinking is cowardice in disguise. It dresses itself as wisdom. It whispers, wait until the time is right. But the Stoics knew, hesitation is the mother of regret. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Epictetus. Let the world laugh, let them doubt, let them misunderstand, but do not wait. Marcus Aurelius spoke of life as a river, constantly moving. If you hesitate, the current passes you by. The door closes, the moment rots. The Stoic warrior does not wait for the perfect moment because he knows it doesn't exist. Perfect is a phantom, a convenient lie your fear invented to keep you still. While you analyze, someone else acts. While you question, someone else begins. And when you finally feel ready, you'll realize the moment has vanished. Here's your practice. When you catch yourself spiraling in thought, set a 5-second countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Move, speak, act, begin. Because motion shatters fear. Doubt dies in the presence of movement. You don't need another plan. You need a pulse. You need a step. You need courage, not certainty. Remember, the arrow does not overthink its target. It simply flies. So must you. Mistake 8. Comparing yourself to others. You scroll, you see their success, their beauty, their happiness, and something inside you contracts. You feel behind, inadequate, small, as if your life is worth less because someone else is shining. But that's the trap. Comparison is not harmless. Comparison is slavery. You chain your self-worth to people who don't even know you. You let strangers rent space in your mind. You worship images, carefully curated, heavily filtered, deeply hollow. The Stoics would see this and scoff. They never asked, am I ahead of him? They asked, am I ahead of who I was yesterday? Marcus Aurelius never looked outward for validation. He looked inward, and he wrote with brutal honesty, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. In other words, the only worthy victory is mastery of the self, not wealth. Not applause, not followers, just virtue, just growth, just a mind in command of itself. So here's your rebellion. Delete social media for 24 hours. Yes, really. Step out of the noise, replace scrolling with creating, replace envy with effort. Pick up a pen, a brush, a tool, a weight. Build something only you can build. Because no one can outshine you at being you. You were not meant to be a copy. You were meant to be a fire. Stop measuring your path by someone else's map. Their journey is irrelevant. The only race is this. Who were you yesterday, and who are you today? And if the answer is stronger, wiser, kinder, you've already won. Mistake 9. Fear of failure. You hesitate at the edge of action not because the task is hard, but because you might fall. You ask, what if I fail? The Stoic answers, good. Then you learn, then you rise stronger. You've been poisoned with the belief that failure is final, that mistakes mark you as unworthy, that setbacks are shame, but this is not truth. This is cultural rot. Failure is not the end, it is the forge. To the Stoics, every failure was a form of training, a teacher with bloodied hands, a hammer shaping steel. Seneca, once banished from Rome, disgraced and broken, did not crumble. He used exile like a sculptor uses stone. He wrote, he reflected, he built timeless wisdom from ruin. And from that wreckage came one of his most enduring truths. A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. Seneca. So what are you waiting for? A life without risk is a life without growth. A man who never fails is a man who never dared. You don't need more comfort, you need more confrontation. You need to fail faster, not less. Fall, rise, adjust, repeat. Every failure is feedback. Every mistake is material. Every loss is raw clay. You're not being punished, you're being refined. And here's the Stoic mindset shift. Don't fear failure. Fear being the same person next year. So take the shot. Launch the idea, have the hard conversation, write the book, apply, show up, begin. Because a scar earned in battle is better than a life untouched by courage. Write down your biggest recent failure. Now list 3 things it taught you. That's wisdom. Mistake 10. Neglecting the present moment. You're here, but you're not. Your body sits in one place while your mind runs miles ahead or years behind. You chew old regrets like stale bread. You rehearse futures that haven't happened and might never come. And meanwhile, the only thing you truly have dies unnoticed. Now, the present moment, the single sacred thread on which your entire life hangs. And you let it rot in silence while your mind wanders into illusion. The Stoics called this neglect the great loss. To be alive, but not awake. Don't let the future disturb you. You will meet it with the same weapons of reason that guard you now. Epictetus. They trained themselves to return to now, to sit fully in each breath, to taste each meal, to walk without distraction, to listen without interrupting. Because this moment, right here, is all that exists. Everything else is memory or imagination. You think multitasking is efficiency. It's not. It's dilution. You spread your presence so thin that nothing ever gets your full strength. So here is your daily discipline. Single tasking. Eat in silence. Walk without headphones. Put your phone away while speaking to another soul. When you drink water, just drink water. When you read, just read. When you breathe, just breathe. This is not softness. This is mental armor. The warrior who can command his attention is rarer than the one who can command an army. The present is where peace lives, where action begins, where fear cannot follow. If you want to live like a Stoic, learn to live here. Not in your memories, not in your fears, but in this second, because this second is all you ever truly own. Mistake 11, letting small things distract you. You say you don't have time, but you do. You've just traded it, minute by minute, for crumbs. You check your phone. Again, you watch the drama again. You argue online with someone you'll never meet. You scroll endlessly, looking for nothing. And in those tiny moments of nothing, your life quietly slips away. The Stoics had a word for this kind of noise: preferences. Not needs, not duties, just distractions dressed in gold. You have only to turn your attention to what's truly important and let go of the rest. Marcus, they warned, whatever you give attention to, you give power. Gossip becomes poison. Opinions become chains. Trivial entertainment becomes slow death. Marcus Aurelius ruled the largest empire in the world, yet he still had to remind himself daily not to be pulled off course by the trivial. And you have one job. Guard your focus like a fortress, because every distraction is a thief, not just of time, but of your discipline, clarity, and purpose. Here's your exercise. At the end of the day, sit in silence. Ask yourself, with brutal honesty, did this matter? The argument, the scrolling, the mindless consumption. If it didn't matter, cut it tomorrow. No apology, no guilt, just warrior-level clarity. The mind is a battlefield, and the man who wins is the one who fights for his attention. Be ruthless. Your destiny depends on it. Mistake 12, ignoring your mortality. You live like there's time. Time to change, time to start, time to fix it later. But there is no later. There is only now, and it's vanishing. The great mistake, to live as if you were immortal while every second dies behind you. The Stoics never let themselves forget. They practiced memento mori. Remember, you must die. Not as a curse, but as a compass. Not to frighten, but to focus. It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Seneca. We waste it in arguments, in delay, in envy, in distraction, in pretending we'll live forever while the hourglass bleeds dry. Death is not the enemy, it is the mirror that shows you what matters. It strips away what's petty, what's fake, what's cowardly, what's borrowed, until only truth remains. So here's your task. Write your own eulogy, not tomorrow, now. In one page, answer this. What do I want to be remembered for? and then live backward from there. Let that imagined eulogy become your North Star. What habits must die? What silence must break? What courage must rise? Because the goal is not to live forever. The goal is to live so well that death arrives honored to meet you. So remember, every day you waste, someone else is using. Every breath you take for granted is a breath someone else is begging for. You are mortal, and that is your power. Because knowing you will die is what makes you truly alive. Mistake 13, not preparing for adversity. You say, I hope it doesn't happen, but hope is not a plan, and denial is not defense. You live as though misfortune will give you notice. It won't. It strikes like lightning, fast, merciless, and without apology. And if you've built no shelter, you will break. The Stoics had no illusions. They practiced premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. Each morning they imagined the worst: loss, illness, betrayal, poverty, exile, death. Not to summon suffering, but to strip it of surprise. To make themselves familiar with adversity before it arrived. To blunt the blade before it touched their flesh. What upsets people is not things themselves, but their judgments about them. Epictetus. When misfortune strikes the untrained man, he crumbles. But when it strikes the Stoic, he nods. He has seen this in his mind 100 times before. You must prepare now, while the sky is still clear. Play the what-if game, not as panic, but as discipline. What if I lose my job? What if my health fails? What if the people I love are taken from me? Write it, feel it, plan for it, then let it go. Not with fear, but with peace. Because once you've walked through the fire in your mind, you no longer fear the smoke in real life. Preparation is not pessimism. It's power. It's freedom from the illusion that life owes you comfort. The man who prepares for hardship does not fear it. He meets the storm, not as a victim, but as a fortress. Mistake 14, holding grudges. You carry it with you, quiet, heavy, corrosive. A name, a face, a betrayal. It replays in your mind like a curse. They wronged you, and you won't let it go. You call it strength, but it's not. It's a chain, and you're the one wearing it. You think that by holding on to the pain, you're punishing them, but they sleep, they move on, they forget, and you rot in a prison you built yourself. The Stoics knew this sickness well: resentment, a slow, bitter poison that kills the one who swallows it. Marcus Aurelius, emperor, betrayed by friends, surrounded by whispers, slander, disloyalty, had every reason to grow bitter, but he didn't. Instead, he wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." He refused to let the ugliness of others shape the beauty of his soul, because your character is your only true possession. And here's the truth: forgiveness is not weakness. Forgiveness is freedom. You don't forgive because they deserve it. You forgive because you deserve peace. So here's your ritual. Write a letter of forgiveness. Say what needs to be said, honestly, fiercely, fully. Then burn it. Watch the flame rise. Watch the past die. Let the ashes carry away what no longer belongs to you. Because your mind is a temple, not a graveyard. Let go. Not for them, for you. So that you can walk forward unburdened. The man who holds a grudge digs two graves, as this carries nothing but virtue. Mistake 15, not taking responsibility. You blame the economy, your parents, your boss, the government, the algorithm. You speak as if the world owes you progress, like fortune was supposed to hand you peace and purpose on a silver platter. But the Stoics rejected this disease of blame. They taught radical ownership. That your life, every triumph, every failure, every scar, is your responsibility. Don't explain your philosophy, embody it, Epictetus. Do you want to be strong? Then carry your life like a soldier carries his shield, without complaint, without excuse. You were not born to be coddled. You were born to stand up, to take control, to forge meaning where none was given. So here's your command. The next time you complain, stop mid-sentence. Ask, what can I do about this? If there's action, take it. If there's nothing, release it. No more blame, no more delay, no more waiting for rescue. You are not a victim. You are the architect of your fate. Build wisely. 15 mistakes, 15 chains you've carried too long. It's time to break them. Not by listening, not by liking, not by nodding in agreement, but by acting, by practicing, by doing what most will never do, living Stoicism. The ancient warriors didn't post quotes. They bled, they fell, they stood back up, silent, disciplined, burning with inner fire. So before you go, drop one word in the comments, the mistake that hit you hardest. Name it, own it, burn it. And if this awakens something in you, If you're ready to step into the fire and forge the life you were born to live, subscribe. Not for fluff, not for comfort, but for the deeper, darker, more dangerous Stoic truths that the world will never teach you. Because the war for your potential is not over. It has only just begun. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Marcus Aurelius.